All right, so today we're prepping for a Data Entry Supervisor interview. And to help us do that, we're diving deep into RoleCatcher's resources. We've got their career guide, interview guide, and their platform overview. We'll figure out what this job really is all about and how to answer those interview questions.
Yeah, and what's really cool is we'll also see how RoleCatcher's AI can help us tailor answers and give feedback that's specific to this role. It's like having a secret weapon.
Okay, so first things first. What does a Data Entry Supervisor actually do? It's got to be more than just typing in data, right?
Oh yeah, way more. Think of a data entry supervisor as like the conductor of a data orchestra. We're not just playing an instrument, you're leading the double wheel ensemble,
Hmm,
managing people, making sure that workflow is smooth, ensuring the accuracy of the data, even keeping an eye on industry trends.
I like that analogy. Really highlights the leadership aspect. Speaking of leadership, let's talk about some common interview questions.
Okay, so one of the first ones you'll probably get is, can you tell us about your experience with data entry software?
Oh.
Seems simple enough, but it's a real chance to shine.
So what should we focus on instead of just listing off software names?
Think about specific software features you've mastered, challenges you've overcome, and how you've used your skills to improve efficiency or accuracy. Don't just say, I'm proficient in Excel. Say something like, I've used Excel to create complex macros that automated data validation, which reduced errors by 15% and saved our team countless hours.
Now that's a much stronger answer. You're not just naming a tool, you're showing how you can really use it.
Right. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your answers and give you feedback so you can make them even more impactful.
Okay, next question. How do you ensure data accuracy in your team's work?
Hmm.
This one's all about your quality control approach
Yeah.
and highlighting how detail-oriented you are.
Exactly. You want to demonstrate that you're a leader who's obsessed with accuracy and that you've got a system. Talk about the specific steps you take, double-checking entries, implementing validation rules, training your team on best practices, conducting regular audits. They want to see that multifaceted approach to data accuracy.
I bet they'll follow up with something like, can you give an example of a time when you identified and corrected a significant data error?
Ah, yes. That's where a good story can really help. Think of a time you went above and beyond to catch an error that could have had some serious consequences. Describe the situation, the steps you took to uncover the error, the solution you implemented, and the positive impact it had.
Okay, so we've covered software experience and data accuracy. What about the people management side of this? Conductors need to know how to lead their musicians right.
Absolutely. This often comes up as, how do you handle conflicts within your team? And it's your chance to show you can navigate tricky situations and create a positive team environment.
What are the key things to hit on in my answer?
Focus on being proactive. Highlight your communication and mediation skills, and your commitment to finding solutions that work for the entire team. They might even ask for a specific example, so be ready with a story about how you successfully resolved a conflict.
I'm so glad RoleCatcher gives us those specific examples. Really helps me picture how to answer these.
For sure. Similar question is, how do you motivate and engage your team?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. It's all about showcasing your leadership style and how you build a positive and productive work environment. What strategies should we focus on?
Things like giving regular feedback, encouraging professional development, recognizing individual achievements, celebrating successes as a team show that you're not just a manager, you're a leader, someone who inspires and empowers their team.
And I'm sure they'll ask for a specific example.
Oh, they will? Maybe. Can you describe a time when you had to motivate your team to meet a challenging deadline? Always be ready with those real-world examples. That's what brings your answers to life and proves you can actually do what you say.
So we've got handling conflicts, motivating your team, ensuring data accuracy. What else should people be ready for?
Well, don't forget that data entry supervisors also have to be super organized and efficient. So they might ask, how do you prioritize tasks and manage your team's workload?
Okay, so this is about showcasing those organizational skills and how well you can delegate.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's career guide really emphasizes clear communication, effective delegation, using tools or methods to track progress, making sure deadlines are met. If you've got any experience with project management methodologies or software, definitely mention that.
What if they throw in a curveball? Like, describe a time when you had to juggle multiple priorities and how you handled it.
Oh, that's a great opportunity to show how you stay calm under pressure and how you make good decisions. Be specific. Describe the situation, the different priorities, what strategies you use to manage your time, and the outcome. Did you meet the deadlines? Did you have to make tough choices? Any lessons learned?
It's interesting how all of these questions, even though they're asking about specific skills, they also give you a chance to show off your leadership qualities.
Oh, for sure. It's all connected. Speaking of connections, let's move on to a question that's super important in our digital world. How do you ensure that your team members are adhering to data privacy and security protocols?
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one, especially with GDPR and CCPA and all that. They want to know you understand how important data privacy and security is.
Right. You need to show them you understand the regulations, that you're committed to compliance, and that you can build a culture of security within your team. Talk about the training you provide, the policies you enforce, and the measures you take to minimize security risks. Don't be afraid to get into the details.
I bet they might ask, can you describe a situation where you had to address a data security breach or violation?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. But it's also a chance to really shine. So think about a time when you had to handle a security incident. Describe the situation, how you contained the breach, the investigation process, the corrective actions you implemented, and how you communicated with everyone involved.
I'm really glad RoleCatcher not only gives sample answers,
Hmm?
but their AI can actually analyze what you say and give feedback.
It's like having a virtual interview coach right there in your pocket. It can tell you if you're using the right words, if your tone is good, if your answers line up with what employers are looking for in a data entry supervisor.
That's amazing. Before we move on, I want to talk about another part of the data entry supervisor role. Staying ahead of industry trends. That's where RoleCatcher's career guides really comes in handy.
It does. The data entry world is always changing, and they want someone who's committed to learning and staying up to date.
So we need to be ready for how do you stay up to date on industry trends and developments in data entry?
This is where you show off how proactive you are about professional development. Mention any industry publications you read, conferences you attend, online courses, professional organizations you belong to.
And be specific. Don't just say, I read industry blogs. Name a specific blog, or maybe a conference that gave you some new ideas.
Yeah, you want to show you're not just reading stuff passively. You're actively searching out knowledge and putting it to use.
This is a perfect example of how RoleCatcher's AI can help. It can analyze industry trends and suggest examples or resources you can mention so you can demonstrate your knowledge.
It's like having a research assistant working for you 24/7.
Okay, we've covered a lot, but there's still more to explore. So let's dive deeper into some more of those tough questions and talk about how RoleCatcher can help us craft some winning answers.
Sounds good to me.
Hmm?
Let's keep this deep dive going. Okay, so we're talking about how RoleCatcher can help you stay ahead of the game in the data entry world.
Yeah, it's like having a guide through all the changes happening. One question I always find tricky is, can you provide an example of a successful project you have managed in the past?
Ah, yes. The classic tell me about a time question. They don't just want to hear you talk, they want to see you in action.
Yeah.
This is where you showcase your leadership, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to get results. All within the world of data entry, of course.
So how do I choose the right project to talk about?
Think back to projects that really demonstrate the skills of a data entry supervisor. Did you lead a team to implement a new system? Or maybe streamline a workflow to improve accuracy and make things more efficient? Or maybe you found and fixed a data issue that saved the company time or money.
I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help us figure out which projects would really impress the interviewers.
Absolutely. It's like having a digital assistant that knows exactly what employers are looking for. But remember, it's not just about what you did, it's about how you did it. Take the interviewer through your process, step by step. What challenges did you face? What decisions did you make? What actions did you take? And what was the positive impact?
Like telling a story with data as the main character.
Exactly. And be prepared for follow-up questions like, what were some of the key lessons you learned from this project? They want to see that you're not just doing things. You're thinking critically and learning from your experiences.
Speaking of learning and growing, RoleCatcher's Career Guide does a great job of laying out a clear career path in data entry. They outline 4 stages, starting with data entry clerk, then data entry operator, data entry coordinator, and finally data entry supervisor.
I really like how they give real-world examples of what people do at each stage, their tasks, their responsibilities. It's like a sneak peek into your future career.
It can be really motivating to see where you could go. It also helps you figure out if there are any skills you're missing or experience gaps you need to fill so you can get ready for that next step. This actually ties in nicely with another interview question. How do you ensure that your team members are meeting performance expectations?
Oh, this one's all about showing your leadership style, how you set clear goals and expectations, and how you manage performance. RoleCatcher's Career Guide really emphasizes regular evaluations, giving constructive feedback, and providing opportunities for professional development.
What about when you have to deal with someone who's not performing well? That always makes me a little nervous.
They might ask something like, how do you handle a team member who is consistently underperforming?
Hmm.
This is your chance to show that you can be empathetic and supportive, but also firm and focused on results.
How should we answer this one?
Talk about your process. First, you figure out why they're underperforming. Is it a lack of training? Are they not motivated? Something else. Then you create a plan to address the issue. Maybe provide more training, set clearer goals, or even put them on a performance improvement plan.
And document everything right, just in case things escalate.
So how does RoleCatcher's AI help with this kind of question?
Imagine practicing your answer with the AI. It can analyze your response and give you feedback that's specifically tailored to a data entry supervisor. It might suggest talking about how you use data to track performance, or how you use software to monitor progress.
So it's not just generic feedback. It's actually giving advice that's relevant to this job. That's right. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about something that's become really important in the digital age: data privacy and security. How do you ensure that your team members are adhering to data privacy and security protocols?
Oh yeah, you can't mess this one up. With all these regulations like GDPR and CCPA, companies are really serious about protecting data.
You need to show them that you understand these regulations and that you're serious about compliance. Talk about the training you provide, the policies you enforce, and how you minimize security risks. Be specific.
What if they ask about a specific situation? Like, can you describe a situation where you had to address a data security breach or violation?
This is your chance to show off your problem-solving skills and your ability to handle a crisis. Walk them through a real example. Explain how you contained the breach, investigated what happened, put corrective actions in place, and communicated with everyone involved.
Like you're a data security superhero.
Exactly. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice these answers too. It can give you feedback on what you say, how you say it, even your body language.
Wait, hold on. It analyzes your body language from a video.
It does. It's all about helping you project confidence and come across as authentic, which is so important in an interview. Now, beyond specific questions, RoleCatcher also highlights some big industry trends that data entry supervisors need to be aware of.
Okay, I'm listening. What are some of the trends shaping the future of data entry?
RoleCatcher points to automation and digitization as major forces. Things like robotic process automation, or RPA, are changing how data is entered, how it's processed, and how it's managed.
So as a data entry supervisor, you not only need to know how to use these technologies, but you also need to know how to lead a team in a world where automation is becoming more common.
Exactly. You'll need to adapt your leadership style, learn new skills, and be ready to manage a team that includes both humans and bots. It's a big challenge, and one that you can highlight in your interview.
How do we talk about this without just throwing around buzzwords?
When they ask about industry trends, you could say something like, I'm really interested in how RPA is making data entry more efficient, and I'm exploring how we can use these technologies to improve accuracy within our team.
That shows that you're not just aware of the trend. You're thinking about how it actually works in the real world.
Exactly. And speaking of the real world, another key trend is cloud-based data entry solutions.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
More and more companies are moving their data entry to the cloud. It's scalable, accessible, and can save money. But it also raises new concerns about data security, managing vendors, and integrating with existing systems.
So as a potential data entry supervisor, you need to know about these issues.
Yes, be prepared to talk about them in the interview. You could say something like, I've been looking at different cloud-based data entry providers, and I'm especially interested in how they handle security. I think it's important to balance the benefits of the cloud with the need to protect sensitive information.
That shows you're thinking strategically.
And that you understand the complexities of moving to the cloud.
And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
It can analyze those industry trends, identify potential challenges and opportunities, and suggest examples or resources you can mention to show off your knowledge.
Like having a whole research team working just for you. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the future. Let's bring it back to the present for a minute. What are some final tips for acing that data entry supervisor interview?
Okay, let's get you ready for that final stretch. Okay, so we talked about specific interview questions, and we've talked about those big industry trends. Now let's focus on how to really nail that interview and land that data entry supervisor job.
Yeah, let's get strategic. What else matters besides just knowing the right answers?
Confidence is huge EE. When you project confidence and enthusiasm, it makes a big difference. Remember how we talked about RoleCatcher's AI? It can help you practice your answers and give you feedback on how you're delivering them, even your body language.
So like if I'm fidgeting too much or my tone is off, it'll tell me.
Exactly. Sometimes those little things can make or break an interview. And don't forget those first impressions. Dress professionally, be on time, be ready to have a real conversation with the interviewer.
It sounds so basic.
Yeah.
But you're right, it all adds up. Hey, speaking of adding up, can we talk about those RoleCatcher career stages again? I think knowing how the job typically progresses can be a real advantage in an interview.
Definitely. Remember, they lay out the whole path from data entry clerk all the way to supervisor. If you can show them you understand how this role fits into the bigger picture, it shows you're thinking long term and that you're serious about this career.
So like if I'm currently a data entry operator, I could say, I've been watching our supervisor and taking on more responsibilities to get ready for that next step.
Exactly. Shows initiative and ambition. And it ties back to what we were saying about staying up to date on industry trends. You're not just learning for fun, you're preparing for the future.
Like you're saying, I'm ready for that promotion.
Now, one last thing before we wrap up. Don't forget to ask some thoughtful questions. It shows you're engaged and really interested.
RoleCatcher's interview guide has a good section on this. What are some questions people should ask?
You can ask about the company culture, their approach to data management, how the team is structured, or even the opportunities for professional development.
Here's a tip from me. Write down a few questions ahead of time, so you're not trying to think of something on the spot.
That's a great tip. Preparation is so important. And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze the job description and suggest questions that are tailored to that specific role and company.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive. What are the key takeaways for our listeners as they're getting ready for their data entry supervisor interviews?
First, understand the role really well. RoleCatcher has tons of information on the responsibilities, the skills, and the career path.
Second, practice those interview questions. Think about the stories you want to tell and how you can highlight your leadership skills, your attention to detail, and your problem-solving abilities.
Third, use RoleCatcher's AI to fine-tune your answers, get feedback on how you're presenting yourself, and even come up with good questions to ask.
And finally, remember that confidence is key. Go into that interview knowing you've prepared well and that you're ready to show them what you can do.
So what does all this mean for you? You've learned a lot about what it takes to be a data entry supervisor. You know how to handle those tough interview questions, and you've seen how RoleCatcher can help you stand out.
The world of data entry is constantly changing, but if you keep learning, stay curious, and keep improving your skills, you can really thrive in this field.
And who knows? Maybe one day you'll be the one leading the data orchestra.
Until next time, keep diving deep.